This episode is presented to you by NFL Sunday Ticket, now on YouTube and YouTube TV. With NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube and YouTube TV, you can watch your favorite teams' out-of-market Sunday games, plus watch up to 4 games at once with Multiview. Don't miss the race to the playoffs. NFL Sunday Ticket is now just $39 when bundled with YouTube TV, where you get even more football. Visit youtube.com/Spotify offer to sign up now. Lowest price on YouTube TV with base plan. Rest of 2023 season. Terms and embargoes apply. No cancellations.
The holidays are a time to feel and create joy. And what could be more joyous than the look on her face as she unwraps a stunning new jewelry piece from Blue Nile? How about getting 50% off your purchase? Blue Nile offers premium quality, priced below traditional retail. Their online experts are available 24/7 to answer any questions and make sure you've picked the perfect gift. For a limited time, you can get 50% off at BlueNile.com. That's 50% off at BlueNile.com.
Reboot your credit card with Apple Card, the credit card created by Apple. It gives you unlimited daily cash back that you can now choose to grow in a high-yield savings account that's built right into the Wallet app. Apply for Apple Card now in the Wallet app on iPhone and start growing your daily cash with savings today. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility requirements. Savings accounts provided by Goldman Sachs Bank USA. Member FDIC. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Columbia Sportswear. It's snowing again, and that wind chill is killer. But you're not worried about that because you shop the Omni Heat Infinity Collection. It's warmth perfected with tiny gold dots that reflect your body heat inside and protect you from the cold outside. No snow or chilly temps can stop you now. Go out anyway. Shop the Omni Heat Infinity Collection now at Columbia.com/infinity.
Welcome back to Keeping Current with Kansas City. I have a couple guests on here tonight, but the normal is Daniel Sperry, but I'm going to let him take it from here.
Yeah. Hi, folks. Great to be back with you all talking Kansas City Current and hashtag keeping current with the rising current. I don't know. Claire Lavoisier told us on Sunday she was going to ride the current as she rode down the river there with her epic celebration. But to help us discuss everything that went on Sunday, help us discuss what's going to come this weekend and what it will be a very wild ending to the NWSL season, is a good friend and colleague of mine, longtime Rachael Kriger, who Equalizer Sports covers Liga MX women's soccer there, also an NWSL as well as women's soccer, and has been a multi-year podcast host with me at Last Word on Soccer when we were doing Last Word SC Radio as a regular occurrence for the both of us. So welcome, Rachael. Great to have you with us and chatting WOSO. I think this is like the first podcast that we've ever done together where we actually get to chat WOSO the whole time.
Yeah, seriously. I definitely schedules haven't been easy to align getting you on with me and Trevor. But that'll definitely have to happen sometime soon. But yeah, it's good to talk to you again. Nice to meet you, Thad, and glad to be here.
I appreciate you joining, and I've read your stuff and seen you covering soccer. Just what's your? We'll start off with a really easy question. What's your take on this crazy damn season?
Oh my gosh. Well, I know it's a KC Current podcast, and I just have to say, like, they've been honestly my favorite story to watch, just from last to, they're fighting for the Shield. And I mean, listen, as a Seattle Sounders fan, I can't root anything Portland. Dan knows that very well. So I don't want to see Portland take the Shield. Obviously huge OL Reign supporter, and just I love a good underdog story. So the three-way fight for the Shield is really something to watch out for. I think it's great. This season has been it's been really entertaining in a lot of ways, and it's been very like, oh my gosh, what in the world is going on in a lot of ways with schedule conflicts and even still more coaching firings and suspensions and whatnot. It's just been a crazy year. And so I'm welcoming the playoffs. I'm certainly welcoming the final being so close to Pennsylvania, over at Audi Field. I'm pretty sure I'm going. But I think the season has been really fun in regard to watching teams like Kansas City and Houston and San Diego, the expansion team. So it's been a very entertaining season.
Yeah, I've always kind of felt sorry for Houston up until like the last couple of years, because they've been so bad, and now they finally at least are in the discussion. So that's good for them.
And if you would have told me they would be in the discussion with losing Rachel Daly in the summer, I would have told you that y'all were crazy. But I mean, it's a really, really good team.
Even after watching them in the Challenge Cup, I mean, there were shocking results, shocking performances too from them that were just like, gosh, this team is off of it, off the pace. And they came in to Kansas City right after the Current lost in the Challenge Cup to North Carolina. That next Sunday, I believe, was on Mother's Day. They defeated the Current 2-0 and kind of a fluky penalty kick, and a weird ending goal when the Current were just throwing numbers forward, trying to equalize the game. So I think all of a sudden, then you're like, okay, that was right after they had fired their head coach and made the change. And you're thinking with Houston, you're like, okay, this team might actually like be really, really good. So the Current got the better of them. They didn't get, I think it was their first game with Ebony Salmon up there, and she's like 12 goals since that game, and it's been maybe like 6 or 7 games since that. So yeah, Houston has been crazy, just as crazy as North Carolina is, as we kind of maybe take a look at the ending of this of what's coming in the NWSL season with at the table and having such a dang dynamic front three as well.
Your sound just changed, Daniel.
My microphone is like cutting in and out. Sorry.
No, it's okay. We could still hear you. It just went a little weird there. Yeah, North Carolina has been another one of the really weird stories this year. Terrible to making the playoffs, maybe, but who would want to face them in the playoffs right now with as much as they can score?
Yeah, I mean, North Carolina is the team that nobody ever wants to play. I mean, they could start out the season terrible and then again finish strong, and everybody still knows what listen, they don't have Lynn Williams and they don't have Sam Mewis, and a lot of the players that have gone.
Just Kansas City. No.
Yeah, I wonder where they went to. Jess McDonald to Louisville and everything, but I mean, they still have Abby Erseg. They still have a really good core team. Carson Pickett's in there. Merritt Mathias is in there. Just a lot of really good players on that team. And I like Sean Nahas. I think he's a really good coach. I always wanted him to get a head coaching job. And, he was passed up. I think he was the one that got passed up for the Angel City job. And then he got picked up by North Carolina. And I think he's a great coach. And I think he's been around for a lot of their successes and has had a major part in those successes. But yeah, North Carolina, it's crazy. The final, the last couple teams looking for spots. We could have 2 expansion teams in there. We could only have 1. Chicago, this could be the first time that they don't make the playoffs. It's entertaining. I want to see Houston make it for sure, but that 6th place spot, I mean, I don't know. It'd be nice to see a little bit of a change up, but I don't know. I think it's North Carolina's to lose, but I think my biggest gripe right now is the fact that there really isn't a decision day. It's, if all these games were kicking off at the same time, Jeff Kassouf actually just wrote about this for Equalizer. It would be all the more entertaining, but there's like situations where, North Carolina somehow defeats San Diego, those other games are kind of all for naught in regard to the 6th place spot. I mean, there's still the race for the Shield, but it's just not as dynamic as like an MLS decision day would be, with all of the games really kicking off at the same time. I thought Orlando was going to do it. I love Seb Hines. I love his journey and him going to coach there. I hope Orlando retains him. But they just couldn't pull it out in the end, and they have building blocks for next year. They could have very well finished in last place. But right now, I really think it's North Carolina's spot to lose.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just curious from the outside looking in. Obviously, Daniel and I have been here watching the Current intimately for the last few months and following all the stories, writing the stories, talking about them, everything. What have you seen from the outside that, what has been the story that you followed about Kansas City?
That's a good question. There's a lot. I think the obvious is how well they're doing without like Lynn Williams and Sam Muse, because everybody was, those are obviously big signings for a lot of reasons, but I love the emergence of Cece Kaiser. Dan knows very well I'm a proponent of, if you're playing well for your club team, you should get called up to the national team. And the fact that she hasn't been called up yet, the U.S. Women's national team roster drops tomorrow, so you never know. But the fact that she hasn't been called up yet is just absolutely mind-boggling. Lola Bonta is having one of the best seasons statistically that she has ever put on, and she's not a spring chicken anymore. So the fact that she's really the heart and soul of the team, yes, but also the engine of the team has been huge for Kansas City. AD French making the move from Portland to Kansas City and still just standing on top of her head, doing things that only AD French could do, kind of putting her name back into that race for the U.S. Women's National Team spots. Kansas City has just kind of been like that gem that nobody has really talked about, because there's all the glitz and glamour with Portland, and then OL Reign made all those huge splash signings. San Diego's very popular for a lot of reasons. And Kansas City has kind of just climbed the table slowly but surely, and they've done it with such like a confidence and flair. Kristen Hamilton emerging and just really standing out in such a talented forward league. It's been great to see them going from last to like almost first. They have a shot to go first, but I think just it kind of makes you wonder, when Lynn Williams and Sam Mewis do come back, like, where is their place if this team is really firing the way that they are? So that's probably been the most entertaining for me.
I think for me, one of the most entertaining things has just been how much fun they're having, how much joy. You could see, last year, the players that were here, fought hard and didn't get the results. But this year, as they started to gain momentum, you could just see that happiness, the joy, the fun, and now Lowe challenging everybody to have great celebrations. And that's kind of spreading to other teams now. What's been your favorite celebration so far, Daniel?
I really enjoyed the putt from Lowe over the weekend, as I am an avid golfer. I thought Kristen Edmonds did a great job of tending the pin for her, like a good golf partner should. So very well done. I tweeted out the quote tweet of that celebration. There was a fan view that had it. It was really good from the South Stand. And I quote tweeted out and said better than most, as in the very famous Tiger Woods putt on you have to look it up if you don't know big golf moments. There was a famous putt that Tiger Woods made on one of the most historic holes in golf, which is the 17th hole at Sawgrass in Florida. It's this massive island green that bumps and hills and all over the place, and he was on the complete other side of it. It's probably a 60-70 foot putt that he smacks, and the announcer, I believe it's Jim Nance, was saying he started out, well, it's better than most, and it just picks up, and he keeps repeating it until it goes in, and that it just gets louder into this yell of better than most, and it trickles in the side of the hole, and it's just wow, freaks out, right? So that was my tribute back to Lowe with the better than most. I really did think too that Kristen Hamilton's big swinging guitar was great. Cece Kaiser kind of has this whole like she, I don't know, there's a great TikTok out there, because we're doing this on video for us, I'm not going to attempt to act this up. There's a great TikTok out there there's a gif of Cece Kaiser doing the little rock out thing and sticking her tongue out. that fits that TikTok specifically. And then for her to go when she scored over the weekend and grab the corner flag and do the rock out, and it's like she was leaning over with the microphone, was super cool too. So I think those are my three favorite ones that they've done. But yeah, they are all quite hilarious.
And that is far more golf than I ever thought we would talk about on this pod.
This is hey, sorry, but I blame Lo for bringing it in. So
yeah, she was we actually talked to her today, and it was pretty entertaining talking to her about it and trying to get her husband Roger to do and she's like, no, he's not going to do them. So.
Her exact words were, he needs to stick to what he's good at.
Yeah. So how much do you think that like the celebration spreading, that just it's something that everybody can enjoy and watch and retweet and share the videos and stuff, again, it just helps the popularity of the league.
Yeah, I don't know, Rachel, you and I have had our plenty of texts back and forth, our rants off air, quote offline, about things in this league and things that we like. Okay, come on, can you just do this? Just how good though is this from your perspective too, because you're seeing it league wide as well, with Portland doing the wacky inflatable flailing 2-man thing on their goal this weekend. I mean, it's catching a fire, and it's kind of making the league say, okay, we can really lean into this and market it, as opposed to like being the NFL and being a curmudgeon about anything that's ever fun.
I mean, the team that sits down and does the kayaking one, the canoeing one, that's gonna be my like Twitter header as soon as that happens. Yeah, I mean, like for a league like this, especially like in their 10th year, it's incredible to market it like that. There are still some players who have been around from the start. The league needs to be marketed for sure. 10 years, they're still not exactly where they want it to be. One thing that we always talk about over at Equalizer, one thing we always, lovingly complain about, is the fact that the NWSL final doesn't ever get the championship hype that like maybe Super Bowl week or, the World Series, stuff like that. Granted, the World Series is, 7 games and whatnot. Same with the NBA and NHL. But, so I've been to a couple of finals now, and it just feels like there could be more behind it. And I think that's like one of the easiest ways to market it, like getting all these teams just doing these ridiculous, crazy, fun celebration things, having this like quote unquote celebration war. But it's fun to do. It's easy to market, and the league has had a lot of years with a black cloud hanging over its head, right? I mean, there's no denying that for the last couple of years. So just some sunshine peeking out through those clouds is exactly what it needs right now.
I think one of the favorite things for me about that, because I totally agree with you, Rachel, but the great thing about that for me is that it's organic. It's the players doing it, the players having fun. It's not the team or the league saying, here, do this, have this fake rivalry or any of that sort of thing. It's the players just having fun and enjoying playing soccer. It's the best part about any of the games, is just enjoying playing.
I'm with you. I find it I always find when athletes get the opportunity to like really let their personality shine, it's never a bad thing. You see it in MLB with let the kids play. They have that whole kind of a mantra thing behind it. They've really gotten after pitchers from like throwing at players who do celebrations when they hit home runs, or sit and stare and do big old bat flips and do all this crazy stuff. Even in college football, you see them embrace, like sidelines embracing the turnover chain thing at Miami. Like there's opportunity for players to really market their personality and show off who they are. And I think so much of the humanity of the player gets lost in sports fandom, and being able to like do things that express their individuality and express their personality. And you see, CC Kaiser rocking out and having fun, and you see Lowe, doing the whole twerking thing. That's the fake injury and the twerking thing. Like that whole thing is like absolutely Lola Bonta's personality to go pull that stuff. So I think anytime an athlete gets the opportunity to share that with the rest of the world is a positive thing. And I look forward to the league hopefully continuing to market it and continuing to push it in the right direction. And for players don't seem to be like taking this like, oh, you jerks, you celebrated us again, you celebrated against us like that. Like, no one's been putting in two-footed tackles. I think on Saturday we got our first true straight red of the entire NWSL season, and it was because Bianca St. George like double flipped the bird to the referee in the Chicago Portland match. Like no one's out there doing revenge two-footers and stuff like that because people are celebrating. So I think as it continues to stay fun and continues to say a good expression of personality, I am all for it continuing to be an absolute blast, because that's what it is.
I'm waiting for a double bird celebration somewhere along the line.
I think the league has set the precedent on what happens when you give the double bird. So I think that one's done.
What would your celebration be if you scored, Rachel?
I hate to say the double bird, but I always I don't remember who did it, but the person who sat and did the yoga pose, that's the
Erling Haaland.
Yes, I would totally sit in the penalty box and do that.
What would you do that wouldn't potentially throw out your back or crack a hip or something like that?
That's right. Got to play it safe there, Dan. I'm getting old, man. I got my letter. I'm getting kicked off my parents' health insurance, man. I'm getting old.
Well, as somebody who's twice your age, I think he was trying to throw shade at my age and me limping around sometimes.
You gave me some good shtick last week, so it's my turn to give it to you.
Oh yeah, no, it's cool, man. It's fair. And just I play in a media game and I can't walk for a couple days sometimes. That's okay. And play in a media game is sometimes a very inaccurate term. I was trying to
the statue defensive tactic is Thad's specialty in the media game.
I did have some good moments, but anyway,
you did. What would your celebration be?
Man, if I honestly, I think it would be the double knee slide. That would be my favorite, except my knees are so bad. I don't know if I'd want to do that more than once in my life. So no, I would, maybe I'd have to do a photography thing,
Oh yeah.
Pretend I'm taking a picture, something like that.
Yeah. For me, I would have to say, I mean, as you saw my celebration in the Sporting KC media game, I was very willing and completely agile and able enough to leap the ad boards. So I would do that again.
And talking about trying to hurt yourself. Yeah.
It was a little bit more difficult, but see, this is why I'd be able to get back over the second time, because the second time when I tried to get back over in the Sporting game, it did not happen. It was a little tough. I didn't eat it, but I almost did, and I had to hobble my way back over. But to avoid that, part of that was because I was so gassed from running, because I have not sprinted like that in a really long time. But to save myself from being gassed, I would do the whole hop the ad boards and jump into the front row of the stands and sit and clap and cheer. Though when I've seen people do that in empty stadiums or something, those always absolutely crack me up. I'm always here for the more extravagant celebrations. Bring out the Terrell Owens phone call, cell phone in his sock thing. Give me all of those types of celebrations. So that's where I'm at.
So back to a little more soccer. What's your predictions on who's going to actually take it, Rachel? Taking your bias out of who you want to get the shield, looking at who has that potential, and then what do the playoffs? How do you predict that's going to run? Who's got the best chance of going all the way and being in DC for you to cover?
That's a good question. I think all of the matchups for the Shield teams are pretty favorable. I mean, OL Reign has Orlando. That's kind of iffy. I mean, Portland has Gotham. Sorry, Gotham fans, but yeesh. And then Kansas City has Racing Louisville, and Racing Louisville has nothing to lose. And they just beat San Diego the other day.
Orlando did just beat.
Oh no, they beat Angel City. They beat Angel
Yes.
City. Racing beat Angel City.
Orlando did beat. Who did they beat? They beat Chicago, correct?
Orlando tied with San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah, Orlando tied with San Diego in their last match.
Yep.
That's right.
I
Sorry.
think I hate to say it, but I think Portland's gonna win the Shield. All the Sounders fans are gonna boo me for that one, but yeah, I think Portland Thorns are gonna win the Shield. As long as the Timbers don't do anything, I'll be happy. Sorry. How are the playoffs gonna go? A part of me wants to see. I do think Kansas City has a shot of making it. I think it's going to be on one side of the bracket. Granted, I'm not looking at any potential bracket yet, so I don't really know what that's going to be. I could see, a semifinal between Kansas City and OL Reign. That would be really, really entertaining, I think. I don't think San Diego as the expansion team, I don't think they're going to make the final. I think they're kind of dropping off the slope a little bit right now. It'll be interesting to see when everybody comes back from the international break to make, pending everybody being healthy and whatnot. That's obviously the biggest question there when you go into an international break. I would love to see OL Reign make it back to a final. Heck, I'd love to see Kansas City make it. It'd be very interesting to see those two because they have a long, long history, even though they are now all rebranded and whatnot. But you know what? Sure, I'll go with that. I'll go with OL Reign. I'll go with Kansas City in the final. I think that would be a lot of fun. And it would be a nice way to kind of harken back to the league's history. Again, this is the 10th anniversary. So it'd be a nice way to kind of go back to something super historic there.
Yeah, I would love to see Kansas City make it that far, obviously, because it would be fun and give us more things to write about and talk about, and be very enjoyable. I really do kind of feel like this is a team built to win maybe next year, because they have a lot of good parts, but they could always use a few more. They could use that star player that wasn't there this year, but they really are kind of just a goal scoring by committee, which makes them maybe stronger. I don't know. What do you think, Daniel?
Oh, I've already had my thoughts on this one because I think superstars are what wins. When you have that game changer on it, when it comes down to a make or break game like that, I think that's the difference maker. As I see it shaking out, I wrote a giant article on the possible scenarios. I did not include the whole goal differential scenarios because there's no way. The only two teams that the Current can actually tie with on goal differential and there be even an ounce of a possibility of a result for them to overtake them on goal differential is Portland and OL Reign. If they were tied on points, the only way that can happen between them and Portland to be tied on points is a Kansas City win and a Portland draw. And in that case, Kansas City would have to have beaten Louisville by 25. Yes, 25 goals is the only way that they're surpassing them in that instance. So unless like Chris and Angie slipped $1 million into every single Racing Louisville player's Venmo overnight, like that's probably not going to happen.
And the referees.
And the referees, like that, there's so much that has to happen for that to be 25 goals. I mean, that's like England playing Papua New Guinea in soccer. Like I expect 25-0 out of that. Like I mean that's just beyond comprehension. The other one would be OL Reign and them being the Current being tied, which would take an OL Reign loss and a Current draw. Now, the Current, then, if they drew, they could not obviously get a goal differential higher than their one, which means that the OL Reign would have to have lost by 10. So there's zero in any way where they tie on points with somebody and are going to win the tiebreaker. And that's where they're at. We've talked about the goal differential on this pod at length at this point. So the way I see it shaking out, they're going to have to finish first. Both Portland need to lose and Reign have to get a draw or a loss, and the Current have to win. That's the only way that they're winning the Shield. Possible, maybe, but I'm not 100% on that. But I do see the opportunity for them to jump into second, just because I think the Reigns matchup is a little bit harder, considering how Orlando played, and I could see the Current jumping into that second role. And if they do that, then the OL Reign has to likely play against North Carolina, which is a dangerous matchup right now in that semifinal, which could potentially put, or in the quarterfinals, which would put the winner of that likely playing the Current in the semifinal based on how that bracket would show up. So that would be a very intriguing setup if that all shook out that way. But yeah, I don't see anybody other than Portland shaking out at the top. And it's hard to bet against them in a one game to get to the final at their home field. Especially with the way the crowds that they draw and the sports they have and the players that they have. It just seems very unlikely that we won't see the Portland Thorns in the NWSL final. But this league's crazy. Anything can happen.
Yeah, it's I've started calling it the normally weird soccer league.
I like that.
Just too many weird things. We kind of covered some of that last week, but Kansas City being up there with a -2 goal differential last week. Just the way that some of the teams are doing with who scored and who's not and things like that. But it's this league seems to just embrace weirdness, and that's okay. We kind of like that at times. All right, I got just a few minutes left. Is there anything that we should have asked you today, Rachel? What's the burning thing you want to stand up on a podium and like tell people on the pod in Kansas City?
Give us your last words, as we always say on our Last Word on Soccer Club Radio podcast.
Last words. Yeah, here we go.
I have no sponsor spiel though. We don't have sponsors.
I was gonna say no
ad reads.
Dang, darn. Okay, I was looking forward to. No, I'm kidding. Just watch the final. Just watch the playoffs. Watch the final. It's gonna be a really entertaining. Slew of games coming up. I think. Even the international break. These are going to be some really fun games. USA, England, USA. Well, we don't know if USA, Spain is going to happen with the whole chaos going on with the Spanish Federation and the players from the Spanish women's national team. But I think the NWSL playoffs are going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see a lot of people in DC. And I just think that, as long as Portland isn't in the final, it's going to be a good final. So everybody will be happy. Now I'm a little bit bummed to not see Washington in the playoffs again this year. Kind of crazy how they dipped this year in a lot of different ways. But I'm excited for the playoffs. I think it's going to be entertaining, and I'm intrigued to see what some teams like Racing and Orlando do in the off season as well, because I mean those are two teams there that I really love their head coaches, so I'm intrigued to see what they do to try to replicate what Kansas City did this year, going from bottom of the table to top of the table, and see if Gotham can turn it around a little bit. I have a lot of thoughts there, but not enough time.
All right. Any last words, Daniel?
Any last words? I don't have much outside of just, I mean, I know the opportunity has passed for you to go see a home game for the Current for listeners, maybe, but if you haven't gone out yet, playoffs, honestly, they're not going to, it's not going to be like, I doubt it will be like $100 a ticket, but it's going to be a really incredible opportunity to go see them at Children's Mercy Park for an opportunity. Most likely, all they need is 1 point or Houston to drop a point in their match to get a home playoff game. It's pretty likely they'll end up with the home playoff game, which is going to be a real incredible treat on a big sports weekend in Kansas City already with Chiefs Bills coming in. That's going to be a fun ticket, and a ticket that you've got to pay attention to. So I highly encourage folks to be trying to get in on playoff tickets for the Current, because it's going to be a wild ride in the playoffs. And I think the team at the best of the sum of its healthy parts right now, is a team that is probably still good enough to win the title. And I believe that. I think we've seen that at multiple points this year, that they should be in the conversation where they are in the standings. And they went through a really tough stretch that kind of, I think, jaded everyone's perceptions of them at the beginning of the regular season, with a lot of things that they really couldn't control, with COVID and the schedule and the road travel that they were on at that point. So this is a really, really good soccer team that deserves a lot of credit, and deserves a lot of credit for what they've been able to do in the league this year. So if you haven't gone out yet, playoffs probably a pretty darn good time to go do it, because I think it's going to be a really awesome match, whoever they play up against.
And I will just add that it is possible that they would have a bye the first weekend still, so that could still
potential.
Yeah,
potential. And if they do, then they play on the
weekend of the 22nd, 23rd.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure which day. Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, nobody knows. All right, really, because literally do just have like 2 minutes left, but I'm going to do like quick lightning round questions, so you cannot sit there and pontificate for like 3 minutes, Daniel.
That's fine.
I'll start with Rachael though. Is Matt Potter in the running for Coach of the Year?
Absolutely.
Daniel.
He should be the front runner.
He should be the winner.
MVP of the league, Lola Bonta.
That's tough. I don't know who I think she's in the running. I do think she's in the running.
But who's going to win it? Who would you vote for right at this moment?
Jess Fishlock, probably.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Daniel, same.
I don't know. It's hard to if the Chicago Red Stars make the playoffs, it's Mount Pugh.
Fair enough. I will let you both go. Thank you for joining, Rachael. Hopefully we can have you on again sometime in the near future and we can talk playoffs. How about that?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening, and thank you both for joining, and we are out.